I'm Herb C. I'm here at the Smart City Tech Summit here at Plexpod, Westport Commons in Kansas City, Missouri, and I'm really excited to be able to spend a few minutes with Will Ash. Will's with Cisco, and Will flew in. Will, you're from Philadelphia, right?
I am, but I live in D.C. now.
Okay, you live in D.C. Well, Will, tell us a little bit about your role and why you're here, and why don't we start there?
I lead cybersecurity for Cisco's U.S. public sector team. So that team encompasses state and local governments, the full span of education, K through 12, as well as higher education, as well as the federal government space, which would be the civilian agencies, the Department of Defense, and the intelligence community. And as we just covered, I'm based in D.C., and that team's very passionate about covering that space.
Oh, I bet. I was going to say, to be located anywhere but the Beltway, it almost seems like the nerve center of the United States and kind of all the things that we're concerned about in that theater. So, well, thank you for your service to the country in that realm. Tell me a little bit about what's going on in that space, because, gosh, with all the things that are going on around the world or even in our own backyard, it's got to be a very active space with a lot of threats and a lot of things that we don't want to think about, but we really should.
Sure. As we just talked about in the auditorium there, at a very high level, the challenge and the landscape within cyber it's very challenging because the attackers and the threat actors are becoming increasingly more sophisticated with each and every passing day. They're becoming increasingly more funded. It's really a business. It's a big business, and they have a tremendous flow of funds to do bad things. With all the good things we're trying to do, smart cities, which we're here talking about today, digitization, digital transformation, that's increasing the attack surface, the ways these attackers and bad actors can launch their different threat vectors. So that's one big piece, and these folks are relentless. They're absolutely relentless. The flip side is us as defenders are tireless in our efforts to thwart these attacks, and we're taking a viewpoint to change the equation a little bit along those lines, and we just talked about that in the auditorium as well.
It feels like to me that a lot of the battle, I'm not going to say it's won and lost before it begins, but if you don't plan up front, by the time the threat hits, it's too late.
Right.
Is that a fair statement?
That is a fair statement. It is absolutely.
Which then will lead me to the question, because in smart cities, you've got all these different things, the connected infrastructure, the data, all the different things that are relying upon maybe one sensor, beacon, or device to be able to inform another device. It seems like a whole daisy chain and ripple effect that if you have an infection in one area, frankly, it can affect a lot of areas very, very quickly. What are some of the most exciting things that you see or that you guys are working on that really can help counteract these threats?
Sure. This will probably be the payoff answer. I'll answer in the sequence we just talked about in the auditorium there. I think just real quickly, from before we get to the smart cities piece, talk a little bit about what Cisco is doing to help our customers from a security standpoint. So we feel strongly that we need to have an integrated security architecture. Integrated, not just point products, but an architecture that can communicate across the line end to end very holistically, to your point earlier, planned ahead of time, planned pre-threat, where the environment spanning the network to the endpoints to the cloud has the ability to be a security architecture. It can see threats in any one of those areas and block against that threat across the entire network continuum. So that's how we're coming to market with our security portfolio. Two other pieces to that. Our Talos Threat Intelligence and Research Organization it's built into all of our products. It's not something customers can buy. It's an organization that's spread across the globe and spend their time on threat intelligence and research and ingesting the blocks that they encounter every day and telemetry from Cisco networks around the world to have the latest threat intelligence and deploy that to Cisco products and architectures automatically. And the other piece is really Cisco Security Services, which helps our customers deploy this technology in a meaningful and productive way. So that's really the background, but getting more to your question is some of the exciting things we can do in a smart and connected space. And we have come to market just recently with what we're calling Iot Threat Defense. In this context, it would be Smart City Threat Defense, and it's based on 4 pillars. The first is around visibility and analytics, having the ability to see everything that's on your network, the users, the devices, IoT devices, users' devices, as well as analyze behavior of those devices, of the network traffic, of the data that's crossing the traffic. That's the first piece. The second piece is around segmentation, where in a smart city environment, to the point you made around these different parts of the environment. There's OT environment, IT environment, having the ability to use real words to segment a lighting system or traffic cameras from the back office HR system, or maybe a first responder radio system, having the ability to partition and segment those so an attacker, if they do manage to breach the network, cannot get out of that area. We can quarantine that area. The third is around secure remote access, and this could be remote workers within the city, working from home, if that's part of the culture and policy, and being able to get into the network and do their function in a secure fashion. The other interesting part of this is maintenance workers that may need to maintain sensors or other devices within the smart city environment. Do they need to come on site, or can they access these devices for maintenance and upgrades and patches remotely and able to do that in a secure way? Those are the three big pillars. The other, of course, is the services piece.
Gotcha. Well, there's an amazing amount of work that needs to be done, and I know that you travel quite a bit. If there was one thing that you're seeing is the biggest opportunity for cities to be able to think about how they can get started on this, they're leaving here with this knowledge, they've got a concept of what they should be thinking about. What's the best next step that they can take to be able to do something with this information?
You nailed it initially, and it's really around including security planning as part of the smart city design and planning process as early as possible. So the entire architecture is incorporating security interests, and it's not just focused on one specific objective. And we are seeing cities moving in this direction, but the one thing would be to encourage bringing security interests to the table right in the beginning. And our team, our smart city team and our security team is leaning in and helping our customers do that.
Well, I love your sports analogy about we can put all the points on the board that we want, but if they score 1 point, that's 1 point too many.
That's right.
So
exactly.
Anyway, well, thanks so much for the work that you do. Again, Herb C. here at the Smart City Tech Summit in Kansas City at Westport Commons with PlexPod. For more information, click on the link in the article. You can learn more about Will's work or Cisco's work in this field. For more information on Smart City Tech Summit or Think Big's work, please let us know. We'll be also happy to put you in touch with any of the speakers that you may have seen here today at the event or here online. Again, Herb C. with Smart City Tech Summit here with Will Ash from Cisco. Thanks so much for joining us.